Well, Canadians have always had a reputation for being nice. A Canadian Ranger is proving why once again. When Lynn Marchessault's family needed to get from Georgia to Alaska and got stranded during a snowstorm on the way, Gary Bath stepped in and drove them over 1,600 kilometers of the journey. And for more, I'm joined by Gary Bath in Fort St. John, BC, and Lynn Marchessault in North Pole, Alaska. It is a pleasure to have the both of you on the show this evening. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good,
Good,
thank you.
All right, good stuff. All right, so Lynn, I want to start at the beginning. Can you tell me why you needed to get from Georgia to Alaska?
My husband is stationed in Alaska with the United States Army, and he had just returned from deployment, and we were coming back to the North Pole to continue living here.
Okay, so you're going to go see your husband. Now, you had never driven in snow before, and you were driving a pickup truck, as I understand, with a U-Haul attached to that. A Canadian question going to throw at you. Did you have the right tires on your vehicle?
No, I did not at the time.
So no winter tires, you're driving a pickup truck through the snow. How bad was the weather?
It was a pretty heavy snowstorm with whiteout conditions, and I was sliding off the road due to getting enough traction, and the trailer was kind of pulling me as I was trying to go up the hills.
That sounds absolutely terrifying. Now, I understand there were a couple of good Samaritans involved. First, there was a woman who drove you to a repair shop. Tell us about that story.
So I met her outside of the gas station. I had stopped to get gas, and she happened to come out, and we just started chatting. And she was asking where I was from and whatnot, and kind of told her about our journey so far and the trouble that I was having driving in the weather. And then she was like, "Oh, well, you know, you're not from here. You're from the South." She was like, "Maybe you don't have the right tires. Can I look at your tires for you?" And so she followed me to my vehicle, and she looked at my tires, and she was like, "These are not all-season tires. These are summer tires." And I had been under the impression that they were all-season tires.
Mm-hmm.
And so then she called around, and she found a tire shop that we could go to. She was just trying to find someone that knew where the tire shop was. And so we went there. They were closed. It was a Sunday. And the owner happened, we were just going to get the number so that she could help me call and maybe try to get something set up. And the owner actually happened to come to the tire shop while there to get the number, and it told him the story and explained the situation, and he asked what size tires my vehicle takes. He just happened to check and had them in stock, and he and another guy that was there just put them on right away for me on a Sunday.
Wow, that is fantastic. Now, okay, so that's a wonderful story, and we haven't even gotten to the good part yet. So, Gary, how did you get involved?
I was watching Facebook, and I saw a post from a friend of mine that was a repost of someone else's post. And I saw that there was a family that needed help, needed someone to drive them to Alaska. And a lot of people were, wanting to donate money or, saying they wish they could help. And nobody was actually able to, get off work or be close enough to go do it. So I talked to my wife, and we decided that I would drive her all the way from Pink Mountain to the border.
Now, Gary, I understand you're a ranger. Now, is it just part of the job to help people who are in need?
A little bit, yeah. It's part of what we do, is helping our community and helping people and helping each other, and just aside from that, it was the right thing to do, I think. Someone needed help, so you help them.
Yeah, you're right. It was a very good thing to do. And a lot of people, I think, would like to, chip in when they see somebody who needs some help. But to drive someone all the way to Alaska, Gary, that's a big ask.
Yeah, it took us 2.5 days. So, for me, it wasn't a big deal. I drive here all the time. So going to Alaska, I love driving. So, hey, what a great way to see some parts of the country I haven't seen even for a few minutes. But, I got to see some amazing sights along the way, and Lynn and I talked, and it was a good trip.
This is just such a wonderful story. So, Lynn, I'm curious, how was your husband? How was it when you saw him?
He was definitely excited that we were there. He was relieved that we made it to the border, and he was just really grateful for what Gary did to step in and help us, because I was just kind of at the point where I was exasperated at that point of the trip, and I just was not willing to go on anymore. I was just a little overwhelmed.
This is such a wonderful and extraordinary story, and a story, I think, especially with the year that we've had, a story that a lot of people really needed to hear. So I'm curious, did the two of you plan on keeping in touch and perhaps making this an annual trip?
We definitely plan on touch, that's for sure. We have been keeping in touch, actually. I definitely consider Gary's life an addition to my family. And we're hoping that when we do leave Alaska, that some of the COVID restrictions will be kind of lifted by then, because we would get to stop. It is along the way to see Gary and his wife on the way through, and just thank them for, what they did to help us.
All right. Well, I want to thank the both of you so much for sharing your story. What a wonderful story. The timing couldn't be better. What a great story for the end of the year as we head into the Christmas season. And I feel like there's a movie in this somewhere. There's got to be. There's a producer listening. This is a movie. If this is not a movie, I don't know what a movie is. But I want to thank the both of you so much for your time. Thanks again, and have a great weekend.